Hello and welcome to another episode of 5-Minute Dissertation Diaries. My name is Marty Scholes and today is Sunday, May 14th, 2023. Let me tell you what happened this week. It's been a great week. I submitted my Chapter 4 last week, so that's done. Now I'm just working on Chapter 5. So here's what I did. On Monday, I took the night off. Tuesday, reviewed the Chapter 5 template. I also reviewed 12 other dissertations of the Chapter 5, just kind of skimmed over it. I really wanted to get a feel for Chapter 5 before I dove in too hard. Also wrote the dedication, dedicating this to my sons. Wrote the dedication page. I'll probably wordsmith it some, but I wanted to write that. On Wednesday, I sent the coded transcripts and code books to Dr. Lawrence. She's looking over my Chapter 4. I created a Word document with just Chapter 4 and attempted to resubmit, but Halo wouldn't let me. I contacted tech support and told me that I need to request that the assignment be reassigned and notify Dr. Lawrence. I read other dissertations, Chapter 4 and 5, just skimmed them, posted an LDP entry. I resubmitted Chapter 4. Let me tell you the reason for that. They have this new requirement that everything has to go through this plagiarism checker called Lopes-Write. My guess is this is in response to ChatGPT. Lopes-Write works very well, I guess, for shorter documents, but it chokes on dissertations. When I submitted on Sunday, I submitted the dissertation and ran it through the Lopes-Write, but I waited, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and it just never finished. And I thought, you know what? It's original. I know it is. I'm not worried about it. So I submitted. Unfortunately, the Lopes-Write later errored out, and it didn't give a similarity score. So I had to go back and resubmit Chapter 4, or just Chapter 4. My chair asked just for Chapter 4, because that was less likely to blow up Lopes-Write. I went to submit it, and I couldn't because I'd already submitted the assignment. So I contacted tech support and said, hey, I'm getting this error. I can't submit. What's going on? And they said, oh, yeah, you need to break it down into smaller pieces. Fine, I'll do that. I did that. And I said, but I can't submit. And they said, well, your instructor needs to request a resubmission in the software. So all that happened. And by Thursday, I'd resubmitted Chapter 4. Unfortunately, I realized I submitted it into the second submission slot for the course, not resubmitted into the first. I discovered that this weekend. Friday night, I was not well. I suffer from vertigo every now and again. I went to the chiropractor and left with terrible vertigo. I was jamming meclizine and Dramamine trying to get back, but it just wasn't working. Saturday, still had some vertigo issues, but I was functional. Read another Chapter 5 from a similar dissertation. Realized then that what I needed to do was to start outlining Chapter 5 and bounce those individual sections off of other dissertations. So I began the outline of Chapter 5 in a mind map. I read another Chapter 5 from a similar dissertation, applied it to the outline. I actually went through several of them. I just focused on the introduction section, said, hey, this one seems to cover the background first, and then the gap, and then the this and the that and the other thing. So I went through and looked at them all and kind of synthesized all what they were doing, got the piece right. I also went through and just did that for all the other sections. The results section is going to be difficult because it depends heavily on what Chapter 4 is, and I think Chapter 4 is going to need quite a bit of revision. So I think I'm going to try to write everything except the results section initially in Chapter 5. Today, I went through and through judicious use of copy and paste, assembled the text for the Chapter 5 introduction. I think it's just a rehash of everything that's there. Again, if I have the structure right, and I think I do, went ahead and did that and put it in there. So I've got the introduction to Chapter 5 complete. I just need to do the rest. The next piece, I don't know what it is. It may be the results. It may go straight into the results. I'm going to hold off on that. Probably just dive into the implications and recommendations. That's going to be a little dicey because that also has a dependency on the results. I may just go in and try reworking the results and back end that into Chapter 4 in hopes that it coincides with the review I get. That's tough. I got Chapter 4 out for review. I know it's going to need changes. Chapter 5 has some dependencies on Chapter 4 results. So what do? Do I rejigger the results in Chapter 5 that match what I think will be the needed results for Chapter 4? The implications, I've got those spring from the results. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I certainly don't want to edit Chapter 4 at all while it's out for review. That gets very messy reconciling my edits with her edits. So I'm going to leave Chapter 4 pretty much intact, work on Chapter 5, but I got to figure out what I'm going to do moving forward because I really want to get Chapter 5 done this month. My chair has Chapter 4 for, I believe, 2 weeks. She's had it for a week now. She'll probably have it longer. It was a long Chapter 4, too long. It'll be easier to trim it than to add back. but I think I'm okay there. So this week, just going to keep grinding away on chapter 5. Again, I've got to come up with a plan on what I want to try to populate. Do I go in and work on the results and try to back end those and rework them? Or do I work on the implications based on the results I think I will have and the recommendations based on the results I think I will have? I don't know. It's a question for tomorrow. That's what I'm doing. Hope you're doing well. Take care.